Hi, WaterShed Watch participants. Let's hear from our friend Bethany, who works for the Idaho State Department of Agriculture in the Noxious Weed and Invasive Species Program.
Hi, my name is Bethany Muffley, and I work for the Idaho State Department of Agriculture in the Noxious Weed and Invasive Species Programs.
Our program's role is to protect Idaho natural resources from the threat of invasive plants, animals, and pathogens, and a huge part of that effort is focused in the state's water bodies.
So because invasive species are biological invaders that cause damage to urban, rural, and natural ecosystems, it is important to identify infestations early so that the appropriate management action can be taken. Now, once an invasive species is introduced into a new water system, it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, to eradicate. So we need everybody's help to help us identify these silent invaders, since oftentimes they go unnoticed until populations are so widespread that the adverse impacts they cause start to get noticed. Invasive species are effective invaders because they are competitive, persistent, and aggressive, which allows them to reproduce quickly, spread rapidly, and displace native species. They also have the ability to create monocultures, meaning that only one species would be inhabiting an area. Now, this trait decreases biodiversity of the ecosystem and is the main reason why invasive species are a serious problem for Idaho waterways. Biodiversity is a reference to the number and variety of species present, along with the interactions that they have between each other. So think of the food chain and how each organism is dependent upon one another. Biodiversity is the network that keeps the chain going. So the physical and the chemical properties of a water body are dependent on a high biodiversity of life. So in order to keep a water body fishable and swimmable, it has to be ecologically diverse. So the interactions between native species are directly involved in water purification, nutrient cycling, and keeping the food web active so that we can all continue to enjoy our recreational activities like swimming, fishing, and hunting. So these are all ecosystem services that are detrimental to human health and are also services that we are unable to duplicate on our own. So think about, do you want to be in the water? In between the rocks, like our native mussels filtering toxins from the water? No. Do you want to be eating rotting, decaying vegetation like our freshwater invertebrates so you can feed some bass that a fisherman will brag about? So yeah, if you're not willing to do those things, then we need a biodiversity of life in our waterways. We need the system to stay healthy, and the more players we have, the healthier the system will be. So get out into nature and start looking around to see what you can find and learn how to identify.
Some of the more common invasive plants you might find along the Boise River are yellow flag iris and also purple loosestrife. Common reed or Phragmites is another plant that we are on the lookout for, as well as PARROTFEATHER milfoil, EURASIan WATERMILFOIL, flowering rush, and critters like the zebra and quagga mussels, New Zealand mud snails, and Asian clams. Now don't stop there. Learn how to identify all Idaho listed invasive species, and just know there are over 200 of them. You can visit invasivespecies.idaho.gov for more information, and you can also follow us on Facebook at our Invasive Species of Idaho page. Uh-oh, I found something. So the first thing you want to do is stay calm and be ready to describe the location in your notes, or better yet, look up the exact GPS coordinates on your phone. Now, the next thing we need you to do is take at least 3 photos and make sure that they are clear and in focus, and that is the location of the plant, the wide-angle shot, the entire plant, and then maybe a close-up of leaves or flowering structures. And you can do the same thing for invasive critters. You can do the area they were found in, a picture of the entire critter, and maybe any sort of a close-up of distinguishing characteristics. And then you can report sightings to the Idaho Invasive Species Hotline at 1-877-336-8676. Thank you all for listening, and thank you for doing your part to protect Idaho from invasive species.